Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final museum talk of 2021. And what a wonderful year it's been for the main subject of our talk this evening, Kiran Carlson. Kiran, good evening to you.
Good evening, Andrew and everyone else.
What have you been up to today?
Nothing much, bit of training in the morning, and that was it really. Yeah, last few sessions before Christmas break. So
great. And then you're back to training first week of January, I take it.
Yeah, back to training on the 4th of Jan, I think it is. So then, yeah, we'll be back pretty much full swing then until the season for the January, February, and March.
Well, it's been a great year for you. It's seen you graduate from Cardiff University. It's seen you win your Glamorgan cap. You've shared in a record wicket partnership as well, and the cherry on the top, leading the Welsh county to success in the Royal London Cup, Glamorgan's first silverware for 17 years. And we are going to be having a little bit of film with just to bring back memories of that wonderful day at Trent Bridge a little bit later on. Well, besides looking back on the events from last summer, we're also going to be looking at Kiran's journey into the world of first-class cricket. And I'm delighted that we're also joined this evening by Kiran's very proud parents, Rena and Jason. Good evening to you both.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you, hi.
Now, it's great to see you, and I do have some images to share with everyone of your proud son. So I'm just going to go into PowerPoint mode. I hope if you could just give me a thumbs up, please, Rena. Good. So you can clearly see that. So let's start at the beginning. Well, not quite literally at the beginning, but let's start with your own background. And Rena, I gather you were born in Gujarat in India, and your parents were doctors who
That's
in
right.
the mid-1960s came to work in the UK. Can you tell us
that's
about
right.
that?
So I would have been 2 when I came over, and both parents were working in Caerphilly Miners Hospital. So that was where we first lived, in Caerphilly.
And did you settle then in the Blackwood area?
Yep. So my parents had a practice in Blackwood, and they continued that practice right up until retirement age. And then in 2000, and it must have been around 2005, they moved to Cardiff after retirement.
Any cricketing background?
None whatsoever.
And your job now?
So I work for my brother. So I work from home. He's a dermatologist, so I'm a medical secretary working from home. So even pre-COVID, I've been since 2013 working from home, which makes it very easy for me to just be on the cricket pitch taking phone calls. Brilliant. Pretending to be at work.
And I gather during your career as a medical rep, you have links with another Glamorgan top order batter from an earlier generation.
Yeah, Michael Can. He was a manager at the same company that I worked at. And I didn't know when we were working together that we would meet so many years down the line at a Cardiff cricket fundraiser. And we both looked at each other and thought, well, we know each other. And then realized he didn't realize Kiran Carlson was my son.
Well, Canny and I grew up together in Cardiff. We both played cricket. Obviously, he was significantly better than me. But I still count him as a very good friend, and as president of Cardiff Cricket Club, I know he's doing a wonderful job, and still turning out, I think, in the Cardiff Full.
Yes.
And helping to nurture the next generation of
definitely
cricketers. Jason, good evening. I gather you were born in the Newport area.
Yeah, I was born in Newport and grew up in Risca. My dad was from Blackwood, bizarrely, where Rena's family ended up, and my mum was from Glenavon. So I'm a Valleys boy, really, even though we've lived in Cardiff for close to 30 years now. It still bizarrely doesn't really feel like home, but there you are. That's what happens, isn't it?
Absolutely. And what's your sporting pedigree?
Yeah, I mean, none at all. I mean, I go into school in Cumcarn Comprehensive. I think we played maybe one game of cricket. It was rugby and a tiny bit of football for those boys who weren't hard enough, but nothing really. And when I went to A-levels, sport kind of got completely shelved for going out, I think.
Okay. And you both met whilst you were at Cross Keys College, but what's your current job, Jason?
Yeah, so I've had a not a very varied career. I worked for Newport Council for a couple of years when we first came back to Cardiff from London, but I've been at Cardiff County Council working in human resources for 27, 28 years now, yeah.
And you still get plenty of time off to watch?
Yes, luckily. But I must admit, the live streaming, coupled with the working from home, has been a godsend last year and the year before.
And I gather you and I also share a passion for scoring.
Yes, that has been where Kiran's cricket took me, really, from being one of the dads taking other boys around and always being there. You end up helping out, and I didn't hate the scoring, so you end up kind of doing it, and I'm still scoring for Cardiff Cricket Club now when Kiran plays, if he's lucky, 1 or 2 games a season for Cardiff, but I'm there every Saturday.
Great. Well, we could talk all evening about scoring.
We probably could.
Let's not.
Yeah. Obviously, tonight is about Kiran. And, but Rena, there you are on tonight's first image with Jason and a very young but very smartly dressed Kiran on the right. But Rena, the young lady on the left, your daughter, tell us about Jasmine.
So that's Jasmine there in all her finery. She always looks lovely in a sari, and she played netball up to under 17s, wasn't it, for Wales? So she kind of and then carried on playing through university as well, her netball, and now lives in London.
And still plays any sport or not?
Well, she's kind of doing more in terms of running and just looking after herself because she works full time now. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I must apologize, Kiran, because we do have some photos here from the family album, which you may not have thought would see the light of day publicly. But this first one that we have coming up in a sec, one of the earliest photos I think of you, and I have to say, very good hand-eye coordination there. We can see. So Kiran, born in 1998. Jason, did you think, even when Kiran was playing here on the beach, I think it's in Pembrokeshire, isn't it?
Pembrokeshire,
yeah. Did you think, Jason, that that Kiran might end up being a sportsman?
I don't think we ever did. He always had very good hand-eye coordination, throwing a ball, catching a ball, kicking a ball, hitting a ball, and that's what we had to do with him literally all the hours that he was up. You know, and even on holiday, we would just be throwing balls to you, wouldn't we, Giz?
Yeah, all the time.
But never bowling, just batting, was it?
Oh no, he bowled as well.
Bit of bowling,
oh,
yeah, a bit of bowling,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Anything really.
And Rena, were you batting, or was it all down to Jason?
Oh no, Jasmine and I would be reading our books and sunbathing. I'm not interested at all.
Okay, so there's a little bit of sibling rivalry going on, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, from the beaches of Pembrokeshire to Llandaff North and Hawthorn Primary School. Rena, can you tell me about this photo then at Hawthorn?
This was his stage debut as the Gruffalo.
Okay.
The most entertaining Gruffalo, I think. Making all the other children laugh.
Right. Was this the Christmas pantomime, or was this just a special?
No, I think it might have been Christmas pantomime, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you remember, Kiran?
I can't remember. No, I've just the play that I think I managed to get.
Yeah.
Managed to get in the Gruffalo. Yeah.
You were very proud to be the Gruffalo, weren't you?
Yeah.
I was very proud.
Good. Well, you were very lucky to go to Hawthorn Primary School in Llandaff North, because the daughter of the gentleman on the left there was one of your class teachers. The gentleman on the left is the former Glamorgan all-rounder Graham Reynolds, and his daughter, Miss Reynolds, was one of the teachers. I know, Kiran, who encouraged you to play cricket, and as we can see here in the playground, a very good stance, it must be said, and a nice straight bat, as we can see on the right-hand side. So, what are your memories, Kiran, of your earlier school days at Hawthorn?
I guess good memories. I obviously I loved it, and it was a great school in terms of it had a lot of freedom in terms of sports you wanted to play. I think they did everything there: rugby, football, cricket, and luckily we had teachers there that kind of, like you said, enjoyed cricket and pushed it. And yeah, we used to play in the playground and go to Haley Park and play and stuff like that. And it was good. It was obviously a small school in comparison to other primary schools maybe around the Cardiff area, but no, I enjoyed it and had some great mates and some great teachers that definitely helped me be where I am today, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm glad to say that one of the schools who we've had in recently, in fact, we've had over 3,000 young people through the doors here of the museum and through the doors of Sophia Gardens in the past few months. And one of those schools being Hawthorn Primary School. And in fact, the husband of what was, or who was, I should say, Miss Reynolds, her husband, Peter Ingram. Many people know Peter through his links here as the former indoor centre manager here at Sophia Gardens and involved with Penarth Cricket Club. But Peter brought his year 4 group, and he was very proud when, and quite rightly so, when I showed them the film that we're going to be seeing in a few minutes' time of the Royal London final at Trent Bridge. Did you play any other sports at Hawthorn? Was there a little bit of football, Kiran, or was it just cricket that got you going?
Well, yeah, probably mostly football and rugby, to be honest. It was less cricket. That was more just the summer thing, and I think most of the time it was football in the playground and rugby after school and stuff like that. So no, I loved all my sports, to be honest, and especially when I was a bit younger, I used to just do as much as I could. I think it's the whole time, as mum and dad would probably vouch for.
Yeah, and a little bit more back garden cricket was there, Jason?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah. We've still got the my attempt at trying to keep the balls in our garden rather than our neighbour's garden, and I still think that Kiran will come home and want to play ball out the back. he actually still does now and again when you come over, don't you, Kiran?
Yeah.
And any smashed windows or any?
No windows really, but a good few falling out with the neighbours. We still don't talk to the ones over the way, I must admit, and that's about 10 years ago.
Oh, crikey. Okay, well, perhaps we should move on then to your next seat of learning, Whitchurch High School, which many people regard as Cardiff's premier sporting school. It's an institution which has produced the likes of footballer Gareth Bale, cyclist Geraint Thomas, Welsh rugby captain Sam Warburton, and we can now say Glamorgan cricketer, of course, Kiran Carlson, but we can also say Prem Sisodia and a few others as well. So Kiran, who were your biggest influences when you were at Whitchurch?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be rude not to mention all the teachers. Obviously, there's too many to name throughout my whole time at Whitchurch. It was obviously a great time for me from year 7 all the way through to year 13. But I think there are probably key moments. The kind of the PE teachers, my rugby coaches throughout that time, people like Tim Henson, Steve Wills, Mr. Morris, people like that all the way through that helped me throughout that journey of kind of combining sport and education. But yeah, I think there are obviously other teachers involved. My maths teachers, science teachers, so A-level stuff that it really helped me kind of with my revision when I was having to play and having to train and giving me extra classes after school, lunchtimes, everything like that when I was struggling a little bit. But no, I love Whitchurch, and yeah, they were definitely a massive part of my childhood and made me who I am today. Definitely, I met all my best mates there, and yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, and it was great to see Gwyn Morris when we went back a few weeks ago with the Royal London Trophy, and you did a couple of brilliant sessions with the year 7, 8 and 9 pupils, and it was great to see Gwyn welcome you with open arms and the pleasure clearly he has, together with all the other staff who taught you, the pleasure they have at your success, and quite rightly so. Well, by the time you were in the lower school at Whitchurch, you'd started to play cricket for Cardiff Cricket Club. So maybe, Jason, maybe to come back to you, how did Kiran, and that's Kiran there, I think third from the right in the back row, if I've got my identification.
Holding the shield, yes.
Jason, how did Kiran come to play for Cardiff?
I mean, to be honest, Andrew, it was proximity to Llandaff North, and the fact that the training was happening in Sophia Gardens in the indoor school. So that was what I was looking for, a local club that I could get to easily and that would keep him occupied for a couple of hours of an evening and on the weekend.
And not annoy those neighbours opposite.
And not annoy the neighbours, yeah. No, but it's strange to think he's been training at Sophia Gardens since he was about 6 years old. And I kind of back in the day, people like Phil Harrington and Gwyn Hobbs there would take them all out onto the field in the spring, and they'd be playing on the outfield, which was incredible. If you think about that now, you just wouldn't imagine it, but it was great for the boys.
Yeah, is that Prem Sisodia on the front?
That's
right?
Prem on the right hand side on his knee. Yeah.
Yeah, and what is this photo celebrating?
I think it's this trophy, which is the Cardiff and Vale Under-11s A's winner, 2009. So they were, I think Kiran was only 10, so they were kind of a split ages then. But I think they were a little year group, but obviously very pleased.
Indeed, and of course, 2009, the year the Ashes came to Wales. Perhaps I'll have to add in the history books.
Yes.
Also the year when the under-11 Cardiff under-11s won.
Yeah,
won their silver.
exactly.
Brilliant. Well, Kiran showed quite a lot of promise as a batter, and made it through into the Cardiff and Vale squad. Now, Rena, just talk us through, because there may be many people on the call who aren't quite familiar as you are as proud parents, but can you just talk us through the stepping stones then from school into the junior regional teams?
So I can't remember how old was he when he actually made it into, he didn't make it into the first year that he trialled to get into Cardiff and Vale.
Yeah,
so when he eventually did get in, this was his maiden 50.
Yeah.
And it was up in Llandudno.
Llandudno, yes.
Yeah.
So this was under 13s, I think. What am I saying? Under 11s. Under 11s. Cardiff and the Vale. So I think this might have been his first year with Cardiff and the Vale, a county, with his woodworm bat, a channel in his
Kevin Peterson.
in the Kevin Peterson. But yeah, and as kind of parents, the one thing we've done throughout, and there's a bit of a theme, is we follow him most places he goes, which can be a little bit frustrating, I think, for you sometimes, Kiran. But I was up in Llandudno with him on his first tour, and we drove back this evening, and we spent the night in the youth hostel at the foot of Snowdon, and then he and I walked up Snowdon the next morning before we drove home. So we made a trip of it just in case it never happened again. As you always think it'll be the last time, but luckily it's not been.
Well, there's as will come apparent as we carry on talking, a lot of dedication by you in and giving up your time as well in taking Kiran, as the other parents have, around to the games, and Cardiff to Llandudno. That's a journey that I know, wearing my Glamorgan hat, we always look forward to, and it's 5.5 hours, and it's finding the quickest way. Is it through the middle? Is it going up via Hereford and Ludlow and Shrewsbury, or do you take the coast road via Aberystwyth? Anyway, great memories. Kiran got runs for Cardiff and the Vale, and then made it into the Cricket Wales squad. So Rena, again, can you talk me through that process?
Yes, so I just remember the devastation of not getting in again in the first, I think it was the under 11s. So the first time he got in was for under 12s. And then by the time he was under 14s, he was made captain, and absolutely loved playing for Wales. And we tried to go to every match, didn't we?
Tried our best.
Yeah, and we love following him around the country. But he was absolutely delighted to have got in eventually for the under 12s, and then obviously to be made captain at age 14. And then from there, I think it was under 17s, was it?
Yeah.
No, under 15s and then under 17s.
Yeah.
So I think we've got some pictures coming up of how for the under 17s they actually made the final.
Well, here is the squad, one of the Wales squads, with Kiran in the middle, crouching. Kiran, who are your contemporaries? I see a very, very hirsute gentleman in the back row who looks like Sam Pearce.
Yeah, that's Sam.
Yeah, that would have been Sam. Yeah, it's obviously most of the guys here have carried on playing cricket. I think obviously Sam, Steph Roberts, he kind of plays in the Welsh League. Got a few other guys there, but no, it was I loved my time playing the Wales age groups. It was fun being kind of that young and going on these tours around the country for a few days, and and play with all your mates pretty much. And it was hard. I mean, we played against some good teams, and we were a pretty good team the whole way through, to be honest. And we had some great players, and I think it showed when a few of us were in the under 15s, and I think 3 or 4 of us went into the academy. So yeah, we had a strong age group, and it was great fun playing with all of them, and I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to keep the Gareth Bale connection going, am I right in thinking back row extreme left is Ollie Pike, who was a member of the Glamorgan Academy, and I know his father Chris, who used to play football for Cardiff City, and is a cousin of Gareth Bale. But that is Ollie, is it on back?
Yes.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
A very promising bowler. I know he's had a back problem, I think, in the last few years, and he was in the Cardiff MCCU squad. But great. Okay, well, that's the journey then that Kiran's made into the Welsh team, and no doubt the hours in the back garden, also here in the wilds of Pembrokeshire. Jason, is it?
Yeah, we're back to Druriston, so we're just up on the top from the earlier photos. A couple of years later, he slimmed down an awful lot, but still wants to spend the whole time with a bat and ball in his hand.
Brilliant. I must say that's not the best of surfaces.
No. I think full tosses only.
Yeah. Well, of course, you did also show great promise as a youngster, as a rugby player. So, Kiran, we can see you there wearing Cardiff kit. What was your position as a rugby player?
Started off as a back rower, I think, when I was younger, and then as the years went on, I stopped growing. I think I moved into number 10 and with the backs when I was 16, 17. But no, I played back row, and played rugby pretty much from when I started playing cricket. To be honest, that was my kind of winter sport, and cricket was my summer sport, and I carried on playing right the way up until I finished school. To be honest, until I was about 18. Yeah.
So, sorry, open side or blind side, or
switch between both, but used to preferred open side, but switch between a little bit of both.
Okay, and you went on to captain the Whitchurch first 15. Here you are, second from the right on the front row. Is that someone quite famous alongside you?
That's Owen Lane. He's obviously playing for Cardiff Blues in Wales at the minute, and he was part of my schooling life. Really, he was obviously one of my really good mates growing up and playing in the same rugby team, and we used to love playing with each other and whatever. And he moved on for sixth form, and then obviously he's kind of gone on to do great things on the rugby pitch, and still keep in contact with him as much as I can. And no, I'm very, very proud of what he's achieved on the rugby pitch, and obviously it's kind of my little claim to fame as well. Like I say, I could have I played with him when I was younger, so I guess it's obviously nice seeing those nice photos and bring back nice memories.
Yeah, and here you are at the Millennium Stadium, Principality Stadium. What was the occasion for this photo?
It was the Welsh schools final, so it was kind of the Welsh Cup we used to call it, which is just basically every school that played rugby in Wales competed in a kind of knockout draw competition, and we got to the final and we won in the end in the Millennium Stadium, which was obviously a massive thing for us, kind of first time, obviously, and only time playing at the Millennium Stadium and against another strong school, and to win it was brilliant. We had an unbelievable team at the time, obviously Owen, and we had a few other guys that were kind of playing a lot of representative rugby, and it was great. It was a great win, and again, lovely memories to kind of remember that, and especially when I'm there on a Saturday watching Owen play against the All Blacks. It's mad to think that I kind of played there with him. So.
And who was the school you beat?
I can't remember. I think they were from Gwent, they're
It
for
was
somewhere.
it was Ebervale, wasn't it?
Ebervale, yeah.
The purple uniforms. I
Mm.
can't remember the name of it, but up in Ebervale.
Now, Rena, I have to ask you this because I know in my previous life as a schoolmaster, and I did also coach some of the school rugby teams. I know on the touchlines every Wednesday when we played fixtures and every Saturday, there were some very proud mums, but there were also some very anxious mums, especially when some of the big tackles went in.
It was horrendous, Andrew. I would always think, oh my God, I know he's at the bottom of that pile. And invariably he was. And I've actually lost count the number of trips to A&E. He was always covered in blood, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely relieved when he had to give up. But
Well,
it went to watch him every time.
Good, but Kiran's in one piece, and no lasting harm was done. And obviously, rugby's doing a lot at the moment to improve its safety and its safety record and concussion things like that. So I'm sure for the youngsters playing rugby at the moment, it's as safe as it's as safe a place as it ever has been. But,
yeah, exactly.
Kiran, you talking of quite decent back row forwards. Another chap on the right there, Sam Warburton. I guess he was one of your heroes, together with this fine Kiwi Richie McCaw.
Yeah, definitely. I think me, mum and dad definitely watched a lot of rugby on the weekends and all the internationals that kind of went with it. And I used to love watching any open side flanker really kind of go about their business. But I think, definitely with Sam, I think obviously from Whitchurch and kind of all the teachers kind of spoke about him and spoke about him as a student and as a rugby player. I obviously looked up to him and what he achieved in the game from being a Whitchurch boy. And then I think Richie McCaw is obviously an all-time legend on the rugby pitch. And watching the way he kind of went about it and the way he kind of bent the rules to favour him and stuff like that. I used to love all that, and I used to love him. Love watching him play rugby. And it was more just that really. They were just guys that I used to really enjoy kind of sitting down and watching play. It was great fun.
Brilliant. And returning to the cricket field, as Jason mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you did have a woodworm bat. Very much like Kevin Peterson. I'm glad to say, though, that you didn't decide to copy the hairstyle, though.
No, gone for a bit of a shorter look. But I think it was kind of the age I was when that 2005 Ashes happened, and obviously when KP was kind of in his prime was when I was really kind of getting into cricket and started to watch it a lot and watch the test matches, watch the ODIs, watch T20 cricket, all that stuff. I think as I grew up, he was kind of, playing and being this kind of maverick batsman that everyone wanted to watch. And he was just so fun to watch him play, and the shots he was playing and everything that he was doing in the game. When I was kind of, young and learning cricket, I think that just made me kind of do what he did, I guess. And made me want to be that attacking player and hit sixes and hit boundaries and take bowlers on and stuff like that. And I think that was the reason why I looked up to him at that stage, just because I again really like watching him bat. He used to make it so fun for everyone watching. He used to hit sixes, switch hits, everything back in the day. So it was.
Have you ever met him?
No, I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but a few boys have, and say he is a nice guy, regardless of what his tweets might say. But no, he's a nice guy by all accounts. Yeah.
Yep. I agree entirely. I have had the pleasure of of sharing various media boxes and scoring areas with KP. Another one of your heroes, I gather, was again from the Southern Hemisphere, Brendan McCullum, who did have a very brief spell, just like his brother Nathan, as an overseas player here at Glamorgan. I've been told, Kiran, that the gentleman on the left, David Boone, and was another one of your heroes. And it goes without saying, as well as Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah, I think definitely I think Brendan McCullum and Sachin were two of the guys that were, because obviously I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I think looking at those two that maybe were slightly on the shorter side. Obviously, Brendan McCullum was an absolute powerhouse at the top of the order, and he used to really take the bowlers on and kind of play that attacking brand of cricket that I love so much. And I think Sachin was just one of those cricketers that everyone kind of fell in love with when he played the game. I think he made it look so easy at times, and it was the same type of thing when I was growing up. I used to love just watching videos of him batting on YouTube and everything. We could just watch him for hours. And then I think David Boone was more of a later on thing. I think it was more the fact that I got related to people, said I looked a bit like him because he was this small nuggety character that kind of waddled around the pitch with his Gray Nichols bat. But I think it was I love watching videos of him bat as well. He was obviously a great player for Australia and Tasmania, and just the way he went about his cricket, he was very tough, nobody wanted to mess with him. And I guess it was the kind of guys that I look up to and want to base my game off, I guess.
Yeah, and the moustache there, possibly if you hadn't shaved the one that you grew during the summer, maybe you would have a certain resemblance there. But some very, very fine heroes. Interesting though, still no bowlers have appeared, but we'll talk about your bowling prowess in a few minutes. But let's just go back to the year of 2012, and you progressed from the Cardiff junior teams. Here we can see one of the Cardiff junior teams. There you are standing now, back row right, with Prem kneeling in front of you. He seems to he's been in that position in all the photos so far, so nice to spot.
That's because he's so tall, Andrew.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. And as I say, you progressed into the Cardiff second 11, making your debut for them at the age of 13. And then the following year, 2013, Kiran, you made your debut for Cardiff's first 11. And in the game against the MCC, you, I believe, scored your first 100. And as you would expect, when you were talking to the Glamorgan first team scorer and your father being the Cardiff first team scorer, here is the scorebook from that game. And we can see Kay Carlson batting at number 4. We can see Dave Kirkley and Alan Hardman, Dr. Alan Hardman from Ewick opening the batting. Richard, is it Richard Meggett at number 5?
Yeah, that would have been Richard Meggett, yeah.
Yep, and Andrew Thomas at number 6.
Yes.
David Elias, son of Glamorgan president Gerard Elias at number 7. The almost omnipresent Prem Sisodia. I think that's what the entry says at number 8. But Jason, just talk me through this innings. We can see that there were some quite tidy bowlers there, including Bradley Wadlam, who of course is first-class cricketer with Cardiff MCCU, played a little bit in Zimbabwe, also for the Unicorns. But our very own Tom Turner there, from S&C Tom Turner. Yeah, indeed, opening the bowling alongside Bradley for the MCC. So talk me through this match then.
Well, I mean, I hasten to add that's not my handwriting. I wasn't actually scoring that day.
I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased.
Just put that down. But no, this was strangely one of those midweek games. I think it might have been a Wednesday, where both Rena and I were working. So we weren't actually there.
I was. You weren't.
You were there the whole time?
Yeah.
So I arrived from work and I pulled into the car park, and Arena was hiding in the car park because Kiran was out there batting, doing quite well, but we didn't want to jinx him. So we hid in the car park, waiting to see if he was going to get his 100. Of course, there was a reasonable, there wasn't a crowd, but there were quite a few people there. But no, it was, yeah, and not our first experience of nerves when he's batting, but the first time to get 100, and everyone was very, very pleased with him. But I mean, there was a bit of an extra story there because it was a Wednesday night, and Kiran was still playing under 15s cricket for Cardiff. And we think it might have been the final under 15s against Newport that evening. And Kiran was captain in the under 15s. So they were all waiting for him to start over on our other ground, waiting until he was out. So literally the moment he was out, he didn't even take his pads off. He went over to the other pitch, opened the batting, and I think you actually got a golden duck, did you, Kiz?
Got a golden duck, yeah, caught down the leg side.
So it was an example of the highs and lows of cricket, all in the space of an afternoon. It was very illuminating, wasn't it, Kiran?
It was, yeah.
What are your memories, Kiran, of making that 100?
Yeah, I mean, not very clear, but definitely I remember the day, and I remember it was quite a big deal to kind of play, I guess, because obviously the MCC games were quite big. I think obviously they still are now. It's kind of it's always a big deal. People come down and watch, and the MCC usually have a couple of people come down and watch as well. And yeah, there were some cricketers there that were obviously quite accomplished. Brad being one of them, Brad Wadland, and yeah, I just remember being absolutely devastated when I went to the other ground and got out, and then just sat by myself for a while because I was a combination of very tired from batting for a bit, and then yeah, very down from getting out, because you always expect to kind of go from men's cricket to obviously junior cricket and you just dominate, but obviously that's not the way the game works, as we know, and yeah, so it didn't happen that day.
Okay, well, in 2013 you also had another quite interesting encounter as a young batter for Cardiff. This time, I gather, in a match against the Bont, Pontedilais, and in their lineup, Robert Croft and Simon Jones. Talk me through that, Kiran.
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously big underdogs. I think Cardiff going into the game. Pontedilais had a great team. They had people like Owen Morgan, Dion Holden. I'm not sure if David Lloyd might have even been playing. Obviously, Lucas Carey was playing. You had obviously, yeah, then Crofty, Simon Jones, other club cricketers that have been very accomplished over a number of years in the South Wales Premier League. And yeah, I was just a young kid just playing, and I think me and Prem were playing. I'm pretty sure. Was Prem playing?
Can I take it from here, Kiz?
Yeah, if you want, yeah.
This is the story that I've rehearsed, Andrew. So I was scoring for this one, so I know more about this. So Pontedilais batted first, and they posted 265 for 6. And to be honest, they thought it was going to be a walk in the park. And Cardiff got to 95 for 4 when Kiran came in. So they were obviously, their tails were up. But Kiran, along with Alan Thomas, got them to 183 for 5, and this was 50 overs. 183 for 5 became 183 for 6, then for 7, then for 8. So it was bang, bang, bang. 1 gets 2 and 2 gets 3. But miraculously, almost, Cardiff finished on 202 for 8. So a losing draw, and Kiran was not out on 49. And I'm confident, I think anecdotally, the MCC game, which was in June, and then the Pontedilais game in August 2013, led him to being included in the academy that winter. So, because he did it in front of people who knew what was going on and had influence. It's a case of you've got to take your opportunities, haven't you, Kiran? And they don't come around all the time, but when they come around and you can grab them, you got to make the most of them, which you certainly did that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here you are, this next photo, wearing your Glamorgan Academy training sweater. And was it a hard choice for you, Kiran, back then, some 8 years ago? Was it a hard choice for you then to decide between cricket and rugby?
I don't think so, to be honest. I think even when I was first on the academy, it wasn't me saying that I'm just going to pursue cricket fully. I think I was still playing rugby at the time and still really enjoyed it. It was more the fact that I was playing cricket, I was doing well, and I was on the academy. It was great, and I loved it. I could train more and play more cricket, and obviously get better and better. But yeah, I was still playing rugby, still enjoying that as well. So I was doing both really up until I was probably 17 going on 18, to be honest. But then by that stage, I think rugby had become more of a hobby, and it was nice because I was playing with my mates and I was playing with my schoolmates, and obviously cricket had become a thing that I was taking quite seriously, and I was training for it 3-4 times a week, and I was playing a bit of second team cricket. And I think by the time I was 17, 18, it was when I realized cricket could be a thing if I started doing well.
Yeah, and you also had a chance to go on various tours as well with the Glamorgan Academy. Here, as we can see from the date and time stamp in the bottom right-hand corner, this one from an overseas tour in the December 2015. I can see also on the front there, front right, I can see Muji Elias, who of course is now working for Cricket Wales and doing a great job as a coach in ethnically diverse communities. Who were your contemporaries, Kiran, on the Glamorgan Academy? Who else can we see there in the photo?
I think obviously people like Muji, Prem, you got Sam Pearce, you got Steph Roberts, Tom Bevan, obviously he's still playing. He's still kind of playing for St Fagans and playing for the MCCU. Played a bit for Glamorgan second team as well. And
Chris Matthews.
Chris Matthews. Yeah, it's obviously a nice group of boys there. A lot of them I grew up with playing Wales age group stuff as well. Pretty much all of them, if they're either my year or year below. And most of them are still playing cricket now, and still in touch with a lot of them, which is nice.
And did you go on any overseas tours?
Yeah, I went to Abu Dhabi, which is brilliant. Went there for 10 days with the academy, and that was obviously an unbelievable experience. To be able to do that as academy cricketers was pretty mad, to be honest. Looking back at it, with obviously now a bit of having been part of the first team squad and the limited availability of going away now with COVID, the chance we had back then to kind of go away as an academy and play games of cricket and train every day in some really top quality facilities was brilliant. Yeah.
And as well, you also appeared in various ECB age group teams, including, I think this is from the Super Fours. I think this is Kibworth. Is it not, Rena?
I think it's Loughborough.
Loughborough.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that the contemporaries within this setup was, I think, the likes of Ollie Pope, Max Holden, playing on some different teams, wasn't it? Yeah. George Bartlett. So you had a great time there, and I think Kiran batted very nicely. He was in the top 10 batting of all the boys who were there. So had a great experience there.
And moving on to 2015, when you were one of several young cricketers, we can see Prem again alongside you, meeting His Royal Highness Prince Charles when the Prince of Wales visited Sophia Gardens ahead of the 2015 Ashes Test. Did you get a chance, Kiran, to watch any of the England and Australia players warming up ahead of the game, or was it off to another age group game?
No, I think I managed to watch for a bit, definitely, when I was in and around the ground. I don't think I was actually a net bowler, but I was definitely there training and around, and managed to watch a bit of it from memory. But I think, yeah, it was a pretty busy period as well with Wales stuff and everything else going on. But yeah, I definitely remember kind of being around training sessions and being able to kind of spot people from a distance.
And the young gentleman to your left?
Yeah, that's Scott Thornton. So he's another guy that kind of I pretty much grew up with throughout my time as playing for Wales and playing on the academy. Pretty much, we were playing with each other from under 12s all the way through to the academy. Yeah,
did he play for Newport?
Yeah, he did play for Newport. Yeah, for a few seasons. Yeah.
Okay. So, 2015 also saw you win the Glamorgan Academy Player of the Year award, presented as always at the Buccaneers end of season presentation ceremony at a very nice hotel on the outskirts of Swansea, and Academy Director Richard Almond alongside. Also 2015 saw you make your second 11 Glamorgan debut. Can you remember anything of that, Kiran?
I remember that year playing a few games. I don't remember which one was the first one, but yeah, I remember kind of being very nervous playing my first few games. The twos, definitely, yeah.
How did you feel in terms of the step up from age group into playing against full-time professionals?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think everyone who kind of goes through that first kind of step up it's always a bit of a shock to the system. More just about the pace of everything, I guess. Pace of bowlers, the size of batsmen, the pace the ball gets hit at you in the field, gets bowled at you when you're batting, all that stuff. And yeah, I think it is definitely a step up and a shock to the system. But I think once you get used to it, you realise that it's what you want to be doing, I guess, when you are on the academy, when you see guys, full-time pros who are playing in the second team and kind of fighting to be in the first team. It does make you realise that that's what you want to do with your life, definitely.
Yeah, and that was 2015. Let's move now on to 2016, where at Wantage Road in 2016, you made your Glamorgan first 11 debut against Northamptonshire. We can see there, just going along from left to right, we can see Graham Wagg, Nick Selman, we can see Jacques Rudolph and Irene Donald. We can see Rory Smith, David Lloyd, Will Bragg, Michael Hogan, Tim van der Gooten, Robert Croft, Tom Turner, and then at the front on the left is Owen Morgan, on the right, our former physio Mark Rouser, now of course the physio with Ireland, and assistant coach David Harrison. And handing over your appearance cap to you at Wantage Road, Mark Wallace. So, Kiran, a very, very proud moment for you.
Yeah, it was pretty mad, to be honest. I think I better hand over to Mum and Dad to kind of talk about how it led up, because nobody wanted to talk about this, I guess. But yeah, go on, Mum or Dad, kind of take over. And
I remember you were playing a second 11 game in Newport, and you came running across saying, "I've just been called up." And it was, I think you were in for Craig Mesherder's injury. And so that's how you actually got to play in Northampton. And just so proud of you to actually be going up. We didn't expect that you would actually be playing. We thought you would be on the bench.
Yeah, we thought you were going to be 12th man. We didn't think you were going to play, no.
And then I worked out that you could actually listen to it on the radio. And that was the first time that I tweeted to Nick Webb. And I always remember falling off my chair when you got the 5th wicket.
Well, let's come back. Let's not go too far.
Going off on a tangent.
But I can remember the game, Northamptonshire batting, and Jacques Rudolph was captain, and I think it was about 5-1.
Yeah.
And there'd been an over of spin, I think, at the other end. And I think Jacques Rudolph was thinking, okay, well, let's have another over of spin. And Kiran, you'd been involved, obviously, but I think it was a very nice gesture for Jacques to throw you the ball. Was it the third delivery or the fourth delivery that you managed to, with your cunning variety of leg breaks, or was it off spin?
Off spin, yeah, off spin.
Yeah, you managed to bamboozle one of the Northamptonshire openers.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not sure whether it was Ruder's kind of having a stroke of genius, or whether he was just a bit bored in the field, to be honest, to kind of throw me the ball. I don't think he'd ever seen me bowl before. I think Wally just kind of said, "Oh, I think he bowls off spin." I might have bowled him in the second team, and then threw me the ball, and luckily got a few wickets. Yeah.
And yeah, one before lunch, and then after lunch another 4, and there I was primed with all your batting stats, and all of a sudden getting questions from the aforementioned Nick Webb as well as Edward Bevan about your prowess with the ball. Was that at the time your best ever bowling figures?
Yeah, I mean, probably discounting maybe an under 13 game here and there, but no, it was definitely in men's cricket. I think I'd hardly taken any wickets up to that point, and like I said, it was just kind of luck of the draw that I got chucked the ball, and yeah, took a few wickets. I think they're 100% going to be my best bowling figures when I retire, but I probably won't get too many wickets apart from that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Was the first wicket Ben Duckett?
Yeah.
Not bad to bag an
No.
international. And a couple of weeks later, having taken a fifer on debut, not many Glamorgan players have done that, but a couple of weeks later, on a quite extraordinary day, it must be said, at Chelmsford, Kiran, you became the youngest Glamorgan centurion in county championship cricket. You were 18 years and 118 days young. And as I say, it was quite an unusual day. What are your memories of that day at Chelmsford and how it began eventually?
Yeah, well, I think the whole week was pretty bizarre, but yeah, definitely that first day, obviously the kit van was stuck in traffic. That's what I remember. And I remember not being able to warm up properly because all of our kit was stuck on the main road in Essex. And so we had to start late, obviously, that day. Our preparation was awful. They obviously had pretty much got promoted from Division 2. They had a great team out. And then, yeah, I remember losing loads of wickets in the first session, purely just because of the fact as soon as the kit bag arrived, we knew we were batting and we strapped the pads on and we're in type of thing. It was very slapdash almost. But yeah, we did the best of what we could, I guess, for the preparation we had. But yeah, and I remember just batting for a while with obviously Wally and Mesh and then Owen Morgan and yeah, it was all a bit of a blur. I think it was obviously a great feeling doing that because you obviously get brought into the side to do a certain thing. I wasn't brought into the side to bowl. I was brought into the side to bat. So kind of being able to score that 100 and surpass all my wildest dreams, to be honest. If someone said at the start of that season that you're gonna make your Glamorgan debut, I would have bitten their hand off right there and then, let alone kind of score 100 against a top team in Essex. So
yeah, and just to put a bit more flesh onto the bones there of the start of the game, there had been a fatal accident, sadly, on the A12, which is the Glamorgan team staying out at Brentwood, and about an 8-mile drive into Chelmsford. And of course, the A12 junction with the M25 being roughly at Brentwood as well. So it was completely logjam. Some Essex players were caught up as well as spectators. And there was, I think, a 70-minute delay. And as you said, Glamorgan managed to, through your sterling efforts, Glamorgan managed to recover from, I think, the position of 31 for 5 or something, or 31 for 4, something like that. You also had quite an interesting debut in T20 cricket, and after that, this is taken obviously from a mobile phone with a very delighted Chris Cook behind you at the Oval. After you played an astonishing innings in the T20 game against Surrey at the Oval, where I think you managed to pull the ball literally off your eyebrows in onto the top tier of one of the stands. What are your memories of that?
Yeah, I think that was a similar kind of game where there was a lot of stuff happening off the pitch. I think from memory, Colin was obviously our star player as he is now, and he was obviously under the weather. I think he had obviously some sort of reaction or an illness or something, and he meant he couldn't travel down to the Oval with us. And obviously we were getting the bus down there, and he wasn't there. So that kicked it off as being kind of disrupted, not having our star player, the guy who kind of scores all the runs, and obviously their lineup was star-studded. They had Jason Roy, Aaron Finch, Nick Maddison, Ollie Pope, Ben Folkes, Currans, all these kind of players playing, and it was just one of those days. I guess it was everything I tried came off, and we were chasing a big target, so there was no real option of not taking the front foot forward, I guess, and just trying to hit every ball for 6 towards the back end. But I remember obviously other knocks stick in my head massively. Craig Macheda, Graham Wagg, even Nick Salmon at the end, kind of guys all came in and batted unbelievably well, hitting 6s and taking the game to Surrey side where we were without our best player, and that was obviously the most pleasing thing of that, I guess. Yeah,
again, an extraordinary day. 2017, if we move on to during the summer of 2017, you then become Glamorgan's youngest ever double century. You nearly became Glamorgan's youngest double centurion, because you make 191 against Gloucestershire here at Sophia Gardens, an innings still your career best. I'm sure it'll disappear fairly soon. But what are your memories of that particular knock?
It was obviously that season where we hadn't had the greatest of seasons as a team, I don't think, from memory, and we obviously struggled a little bit with the bat, and I'd struggled a little bit, I think, to be honest, it was my first kind of fullish season as a pro at that stage, and it was the back end of the season, and it was a good wicket. Obviously they had a decent bowling attack, and it was nice. I think I spent a long time at the crease, which is the biggest thing I remember that innings, kind of batting a long time and making partnerships with various people, and then I think their batters also got a few runs as well in their first innings. It was obviously a bit of a flat wicket, but no, I remember just enjoying it and loving spending time at the crease with all my teammates, I guess.
And around this time, you start your university studies. So, what did you initially start studying?
Yeah, so I did a year of civil engineering, and then just because of that workload and the amount of time it kind of took out of the cricket season for me, me and mum and dad kind of made a decision to change courses and go to something a bit more manageable, still very difficult in a business management degree, but just the hours involved in the civil engineering degree was too much to handle just when it got to February, March time, to be honest. I could do it in the winter when I was just training, but when I had other commitments with games and away games, when I had to do a 9 till 5 university degree, it wasn't ever going to work really. But no, I was very pleased to kind of change courses in the end, and graduated last year, which was great.
And 2017 also saw you being a member of the Glamorgan team that reached T20 finals day. In the semi-final, Glamorgan against the Birmingham Bears. I think I'm right in saying, Kiran, that there was a possible plan for you to be Glamorgan's secret weapon with the ball. Is that right?
Oh, really? I can't remember that. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I did have it on very good authority that you were going to be asked to bowl the first over.
Yeah, I think there was maybe an option for that, but I'm pretty glad we didn't in the end. The crowd was a bit too big, I think.
What are your memories of that day?
Yeah, just a blur, to be honest. It feels like a long time ago now, and I was a very different cricketer and a very different person back then, I think, in terms of my maturity levels and the way I approached the game. But I remember being a bit in awe, to be honest. I remember kind of being there and looking at the crowd, looking at the players that were around me and playing the same game as me, where I just didn't feel anywhere up to that standard, to be honest. I think I was very young, very inexperienced, and it's something I would definitely like to do again. I'd like to have another shot at it. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we can kind of get to that stage. So yeah, I'd love to play in front of that big stage now and kind of have another go at it, to be honest.
Yeah. You just used the word in awe. I think it's fair to say that when you scored your next headline 100 for Glamorgan in 2019, when you scored 111 against Northants at Cardiff, here you can see Square cutting a ball probably from Simon Kerrigan past Stephen Crook. You were batting at the set, or you were in the Glamorgan side when there were 3 Centurions, yourself, Billy Root, and also Marnus Labuschagne. And as I said, you just used that word in awe. Were you in awe batting with Marnus that year? Yeah,
absolutely. I think he was on a different planet that year. He was obviously in unbelievable form throughout the whole season, and yeah, really, really carried us as a team and made us improve as well with him, I guess. And yeah, he's obviously one of those guys that we came over and was quite raw. I think he'd kind of admit that himself, and obviously worked with Matt, worked on his game, and has become an absolute world-class batsman that kind of is taking the world by storm. He's dominating Test cricket and dominates every cricket he plays, to be honest. And it's great kind of having him around as much as we can do when he is available for Glamorgan. He's an absolute wealth of knowledge. He knows so much about the game and wants to pass it on to anyone that's willing to listen, to be honest. And yeah, I'm definitely in awe of him and in awe of the kind of the way he goes about his work.
But someone who, if you can achieve similar great things with Glamorgan and who knows later on at international level as well, then a great role model for you. I think it's fair to say 2018, 2019, when you were an undergraduate, mixing your studies with professional cricket, it was a fairly quiet time for you. You also had a spell in the Glamorgan order at number 3. So just talk me through that.
Yeah, I think I was disrupted. There's no kind of shying away from that with university, and I missed a lot of cricket and found myself out of the team a lot. But yeah, when I did get my opportunity, I found myself batting at 3, which was a challenge to say the least, and obviously it didn't quite come off in the way the management and myself would have liked it to be. But look, it's one of those positions where it is a bit make or break. You can kind of, if you make it your own, you can really thrive there like Marnus has. But if it's not quite for you, then you do get shown up a little bit. But look, it's something I wouldn't be opposed to doing in the future. It's obviously a challenge, especially in England when a lot of wickets do fall early with that new ball. But yeah, I think obviously to touch on the university as well, those years they're obviously gone now, and I can definitely kind of progress from here. But I'm so glad I did that, and I did university to kind of get that experience and get that degree under my belt. And I think obviously people can look at it and say I did halt my career to an extent, but I think throughout those years I'm very pleased that I did it, for sure.
Yeah, and in the final part of the talk we're going into now, looking back on 2021, it was very much a renaissance for you. You had a purple patch of runs, especially in the first part of the season. Thank God we were able to have a full program. 2020 obviously had been truncated by COVID. Did you do anything different over the winter months? What was there something you could put your finger on and say, right, well, that's what made me a better player, or was there something, Kiran?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of things, to be honest. I think relaxation was a big one for me. I think being relaxed and in the way I approach the game definitely helps me, being less tense, kind of knowing that I've done all the work and I just have to go out and enjoy it now and kind of show off almost. That's the way I approach it this year, and it worked for me. And I think other obviously little technical bits that do change, but I think a lot of it was mental, the way I approach the game, the way I enjoy it, the way I relax, and that is 100% when I play my best cricket, and when a lot of people play their best cricket is when they're enjoying it and embrace that challenge of being in a contest with other people. I guess not thinking it puts you under any more pressure. It's more about saying that this is what I train for. This is all the hours of hard work we put in January and February. This is when we can make it count, and when you can enjoy it. This is the time as a cricketer scoring runs, which is the best part of it, I guess, which is the way I flipped it in my head.
Yeah, and the season began 200s, hundreds in each innings in the championship match against Sussex. And of course, in Sussex's lineup, someone who has already made quite an impression on the international stage for England with the ball. And I think everyone who supports England will be hoping that in the second test soon to start in Adelaide, that Ollie Robinson can do the same. What was it like, Kiran, facing one of the rising stars of the England test scene?
Yeah, I mean, I faced him a little bit in the past, but definitely I think this year he was on a different level. He's obviously improved his game a hell of a lot from where it has been, and yeah, he bowled unbelievably well. He took 9 wickets in one innings and 4 in the other, I think it was, and yeah, he was unfortunately too good for us. We lost that game, and largely down to his bowling, to be honest. He was the difference between the two sides, and that is obviously shown in the international game now, where he continues to excel and has been one of England's best bowlers for the past 6 or 7 months, really.
Yeah, and I think I am still in the process of looking through the records to see how many matches Glamorgan have played where someone's got 100 in each innings. Yet Glamorgan have ended up on the losing side. Yeah. I do know that there was a game at Southgate when Dan Cherry and Jonathan Hughes got when Johnny Hughes got 100 in each innings, and Glamorgan ended up on the losing side, and Dan Cherry got a double 100 in that. But those are the sort of records that we will gloss over, Kiran. Let's talk about another fine innings here at Sophia Gardens last summer, when you shared a 100 stand club record against Northamptonshire with Chris Cook. Yeah,
I think a lot of my memories of that day was a lot of running, to be honest. I remember being very hot, and me and Chris couldn't hit many boundaries that day for some reason, so there was a lot of 2s and 3s. But no, I think me and Cookie have enjoyed batting together in the past, and I think this year we batted together quite a bit, and we feed off each other nicely. I think we complement each other. We're both like to be busy, both like to kind of tick the run rate over, and I think we're both quite similar in the way that we're relaxed when we approach it, and definitely complement each other, and hopefully that can continue in the future, going into the next couple of years for sure, and we can have more big partnerships like that.
And in the middle of June, you got your degree results, and also you had the invitation to lead Glamorgan in the Royal London competition. 2 things which I know will have made your mum and dad very proud. How did you feel when you were asked to lead Glamorgan in the one-day competition?
Yeah, I think a little bit of shock to start with. I obviously thought in my head they were kind of more senior guys that may have taken the role on. Obviously, without Lloydie and Cookie, who were both gone to the 100, there were still other guys in the team that may have been more suited when you looked at it on paper. But no, I was very, very proud and very honoured to even be asked to do the job. And yeah, I had to stop myself from saying yes too quickly, to be honest, to make it look like I wasn't too keen. But no, obviously it was great. I had a great few months there, and obviously my degree result as well. That was a massive weight off my shoulders, and being able just to concentrate on cricket then for the rest of the summer, and being able to lead the team out in that 50 over competition.
Yeah, we'll gloss over your first match in charge, which was against Wales National County, but it was nice to see the likes of Lucas Carey and Andrew Gorvin and Steve Reingold do well and make it into your squad for the rest of the competition. You were also very fortunate to have Michael Hogan there on the left there with the trophy. If you had to sum up Michael's abilities with the ball, what would they be?
I'm not sure words can really describe, to be honest, in what he's done for Glamorgan over the past 10 years. It's been incredible, and last season just showed what a class act he is. I guess we had a very young, inexperienced team, and he was that kind of guy that we looked to make those big plays throughout the whole tournament. He was getting wickets in the first over. He was bowling at the most important key times, obviously helping me out at every turn. And he was a rock in that team. He was brilliant, and definitely was the main factor really in kind of getting as far as we did in the competition. The way he approached it inspired a lot of the younger lads to kind of do it. If like I said, he's achieved a lot in the game already, and for him to play in that competition with that much passion and that much skill was an honour to be a part of, to be honest.
And how fitting it was that, as we'll see in a minute on the film, Hogs claimed the final wicket of the innings.
Yeah, absolutely. It was written in the stars, and Andrew.
Well, it followed an outstanding victory over Essex in the semi-final here at Cardiff, and another rising star in your squad, Joe Cook. Yeah,
he was another one that performed outstandingly well throughout the whole competition. He was obviously, his exploits with the bat in that semi-final were unbelievable, but his bowling throughout the whole competition was obviously the main standout. He was the top wicket taker in the competition at the end of it, and yeah, he's one of those guys where it may not have been his number one role when he first started. He'd obviously been opening the batting in the ones a little bit in the red ball stuff, and in the one-day competition, I said to him he's going to have to bowl a bit more and bat a bit lower down and do something that maybe he hasn't done for a while. And look, he took it with both hands, that opportunity, and again was one of the players that really pushed us to go that far. He was taking key wickets and scoring key runs throughout the whole competition.
Well, just to bring back happy memories for you, your mum and dad, and everyone else on the call, I hope the technology works now, because we've got a short little film loop of some of the highlights, the action highlights, the most important bits of that wonderful day in August at Trent Bridge. Happy memories, Kiran.
Yeah, very happy memories. I think it's obviously all a little bit of a blur. I haven't kind of watched it back yet. I know Mum's keeping me to watch it back when I go back for Christmas now. But no, it was obviously a great day and a day I'll never forget. It was kind of the perfect storm in a way, that the way we won it in the end with Hogues taking that wicket, like you say, and the celebrations after were brilliant. And yeah, something I'll remember for the rest of my life for sure.
What was the game plan?
No real game plan, to be honest. Go and enjoy it. I guess there was nothing to say to the lads more than that. I think it was, finals are very rare, and I know a lot of the chat up to it, you can get too overexcited by it, but I think, yeah, all the boys were just very pleased to be there and wanted to go out there and enjoy it and express themselves and, yeah, give it a good crack, which we did. And yeah, we came out on the right side of it, which is brilliant.
Absolutely. And the photo here, which I'm glad to say will be adorning the front cover of the Glamorgan 2022 yearbook, you holding aloft Glamorgan's first ever knockout final silverware, the club's first silverware since 2004. As we've learnt tonight, you were back then in year 2 in Hawthorn and under the careful eye of Miss Reynolds. Of course, we're all hoping that it won't be another 17 years before the next piece of silverware. And I'm sure, given the talent that's coming through, let's, Kiran, though, just talk about the gentleman on the extreme left there, Andrew Salter, who lifted the Man of the Match award. Talk us through Andrew's contribution on that day and what it meant to him to win that individual award.
Yeah, he put in a great performance that day, and it was no surprise, to be honest. He was in good form with the ball leading up to that. I think a lot of people probably forget he didn't actually play the first couple of games. He wasn't in the starting 11. That was just testament to him. He was a great team man, and when he got his opportunity, he took it and was up there with one of our best bowlers towards the back end of the competition, and definitely on that day in the final. And yeah, he took the 3 key wickets, really, the guys that scored all their runs throughout the competition. He took those wickets, and the runs he scored at the back end as well were brilliant, along with other guys in the team like James Wheel, Lucas Carey, and Michael Hogan as well, kind of at the back end. But no, I've obviously, for Salts, it's brilliant that he can kind of obviously put in that performance. He's the type of guy that loves that type of big stage and loves the crowd and gets behind it. And yeah, we're all so pleased for him, and he definitely celebrated well after.
Yeah, and talking of celebrations, Rena, you must have been so proud. Jason, were you there as well, or are you just
yeah.
He's actually there in the background of that photo somewhere.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Oh no, it was just an amazing day, amazing atmosphere. We travelled down with the Glamorgan Travellers, and I remember saying to Gavin, who'd organised the coach, what time we would be leaving, and he said, well, when Kiran raises the trophy. And I was like, yikes. And he did, of course. It was amazing. He was surrounded by all his school friends, and I knew I had to make my way down. So this photo was me being ushered by his friends. Let Kiran's mum get to the front. Let Kiran's mum get to the front. And I was delighted that he came over and gave me a hug.
Well, of course, and I think what's come through this evening's talk, friends, family, and parents, and how important everything connected with friends, family, and parents has been to Kiran, and how important the strength and the support of the family and friends have been. Jason, what did you think? Were there a few tears in your eye when
incredibly so. It's because again it was on TV, so of course we recorded it. I think Rena's watched it 3 times. I think I've only watched it twice since, but it's very different watching it again because you don't actually remember it at the time, but then it comes flood. Like I had no recollection of Kiran going to his 50 with a 6. If you'd asked me before I watched it again, I wouldn't have said that at all. But it's such a memorable thing. But when you're there, it's almost like a blur. You've got to watch it again to remember these things, I think.
Absolutely. And I have to say that there were a few journalists and broadcasters who did liken you to D'Artagnan with your very, very Gallic moustache and the way your batting had gone, and the Three Musketeers and all that. But a wonderful day, a wonderful night, it must be said, and a very special place in Glamorgan's history. A few weeks later, Kiran, back here at Sophia Gardens during Glamorgan's county championship game against Essex, you were presented with your Glamorgan cap. It must have been a very proud moment for you.
Yeah, it was, unbelievably proud. I think it's something that when you start playing for Glamorgan, you play a few games, you realise the significance of getting your cap, and it's something that you set out to do, I guess, to get that recognition and get that under your belt to be a cap player for Glamorgan, and to do it this season was brilliant, and I'm so proud of that, and so proud of myself for achieving that. But it's something that I didn't expect to happen for a long time, and to get it now is brilliant, and hopefully I can carry on the good form into next season, so I can kind of make my stamp as a cap player now.
Yeah, well, I think everyone on the call, it goes without saying your mum and dad, but everyone on the call is wishing you all the very best for next season. And I know there are many players in cricket history who've been a one-season wonder, but I don't think you are, as we've seen in terms of your development in the Glamorgan first 11, that there are some more run-filled summers around the corner. Well, it would be very rude, of course, if I didn't ask Rena and Jason just to have the final word this evening. So, Jason, is there anything you would just like to add?
I don't know. It's just a joy to see him. It's incredibly stressful watching him, Andrew. That doesn't change from when they're little tiny and you want them to do well, to when they're on Sky. You still want them to do well, and you live every single ball. But you've just got to enjoy the good times, because in cricket, the good times are definitely the minority. But enjoy them when they come.
Rena?
Yeah, I just like to say, I'm so proud of Kiran and everything he's achieved. But also, people do say to me, what do you say to him before a match? And I've learned that the only thing to say is enjoy yourself. And it seems that makes a huge difference anyway, because that's what he's learned himself, which is great. If he enjoys himself, he actually plays really well. So there's no need to say good luck. It's just enjoy yourself.
Well, it's been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much to Rena and Jason, Mr. and Mrs. Carlson, and many thanks to Kiran as well for giving up his time this evening to reflect on the events of the last 12 months. Thanks as well to Rena and Jason and the family for also providing many of the images for tonight's presentation. But I think all Glamorgan supporters would also like to thank you for very unselfishly helping to transport Kiran to so many age group matches. And there was a journey from darkest Cornwall to somewhere in Rutland, I think it was.
Yes, Oakham.
But you've let Kiran find his feet on the pathway into professional cricket, and the proof of the pudding is now coming good. Well, this is our final museum talk for 2021. There are plans for further talks in January, February and March. I know many people on the call enjoy the winter talks. We do have plans for an evening with Colin Ingram, also with James Harris. We have plans as well for a Peter Walker tribute evening here in the museum, but obviously with the horrible things which are going on with the Omicron virus at the moment, we're unclear whether we can meet up in person. What I can say with any certainty is that there will be news about the next Glamorgan Museum winter talk. The next bit of news will be on the Glamorgan website once we know what's happening in January and February. Finally, on behalf of everyone here at Glamorgan County Cricket Club, I'd like to wish you all this evening a great Christmas, a happy and a prosperous new year. For Kiran, a run-laden 2022. Thank you so much for your support. I look forward to seeing you and talking to you next year. Good night.
Thank you, Andrew.
God bless.
Thank you, Andrew.